Recently, Franklin Graham came out and rebuked John Boehner for remarks he made against Ted Cruz, in which he called Ted Cruz a miserable son of a bitch and Lucifer in the flesh. He cited Bible verses that spoke of the tongue being a source of evil, and that Mr. Graham rebuked John Boehner, stating that his vulgarity was unbecoming of the public office that he holds. My big issue with this rebuke is that it is coming from a source that is not principled. And I give you this example, this very specific example from 2012, in which Mitt Romney was running on the Republican ticket. He had met with both Billy Graham and Franklin Graham, and shortly after that meeting, immediately after that meeting, there was a reference of Mormonism being a cult religion removed from the Billy Graham Evangelistic website. Now, why would you remove that reference? That reference is indeed true. When you look at Mormonism, it is antithetical to standard Christian doctrine. When you look at the Holy Bible, there is no reference whatsoever to the Book of Mormon. In fact, in Revelations, it states very clearly that those who add to the Bible will be cursed. So the Book of Mormon and Mormonism as a religion is not based on true Christianity. True Christianity does not give any leeway in towards Mormonism or towards any other cults like Jehovah's Witnesses. It does not provide a pathway to alternate truths. Christianity, based on the principles that are spoken about in both the Old Testament and the New Testament, it is very clear. There is no other source material besides the Bible, the Old Testament, New Testament. That's it. So clearly, under that strict definition, there can be no room for Mormonism being as an alternate truth to Christianity. And yet, both Billy Graham and Franklin Graham were willing to sidestep that issue. I'm sorry, if you are a true Christian, you must stand for the truth. I know that Christianity talks about a lot of issues, be kind to your neighbors and, just look out for one another, do good unto other people. That's great and all that stuff. But true Christianity is about standing up for the truth. If you don't stand up for the truth, then what do you really stand for? Because another religion can say, no, we have an alternate truth. And another group, another ideology can come up and say, well, here's another alternate truth. There can't be alternate truth. There is either truth or there's not truth. And you have to stand up. A true Christian must stand up for his or her beliefs. Ultimately, it comes down to this. A true Christian believes that Jesus Christ is the only way to salvation. And if Jesus Christ is the only way to salvation, I'm sorry, but that leaves out all these other alternate truths, or quote-unquote alternate truths. So the fact that Billy Graham and Franklin Graham were willing to sidestep a very critical issue, the issue of truth, that means that they are not principled. So then how can somebody that is not principled then make a rebuke on a fellow Republican or a fellow politician and say that they are not principled? No, this is high hypocrisy. I mean, this is one of the most alarming examples of hypocrisy in recent memory. So I think that the media is really getting scared. I think the real issue here is not about John Boehner's comments. I mean, these types of comments probably occur behind closed doors all the time. It's not about John Boehner. It's not about his comments. It's really about the Donald Trump movement and the fear that the Donald Trump movement is creating. And I find it, I find it telling, really. I find it telling that Franklin Graham is coming out so forcefully against John Boehner when he himself has proven that he is willing to sidestep truth in order to gain political points, in order to sway the political ideology in a certain direction. He is bought and paid for. Franklin Graham is bought and paid for, and Billy Graham is bought and paid for. I don't trust this Billy Graham institution whatsoever. I don't give a crap that they label themselves as Christianity. True Christianity is an organization that stands for the truth, whether that be uncomfortable or whether that be unpopular. Now, somebody who is willing to sidestep the truth and say that Mormonism, and to avoid the issue that Mormonism is a cult, or to avoid the fact that there are cults that exist, to avoid that issue means that you're more than willing to avoid other issues. I mean, it wouldn't be startling, given this example, to find later on that Franklin Graham would sidestep the issue of abortion or sidestep the issue of homosexuality. If he's willing to compromise on Mormonism, I believe that the trend is pretty obvious. If he's willing to sidestep, and that's a very critical issue. It's a very critical issue. If he's willing to sidestep there, I think he's willing to sidestep on other critical issues. And so I would take Franklin Graham's rebuke of John Boehner with a huge grain of salt. I mean, this is, again, I say this is hypocrisy. This is nothing more than pure religious and political hypocrisy.